Today we're going to talk about what on the parable of the ungrateful tenant. What? Today is Friday, April the 26th, and it's Tylea Bethel's birthday. Tylea, may you have a wonderful birthday today, and God bless you. Luke chapter 20, verse 13. What? Then said the Lord of the vineyard, what shall I do? Will I send my beloved son? It may be they will reverence him when they see him. But when the husbandmen saw, they reasoned among themselves, saying, this is the heir, come let us kill him, that they may that the inheritance may be ours. So they cast him out of the vineyard and killed him. What therefore shall the Lord of the vineyard do unto them? Now the owner asked the question, what should I do? They've beaten 3 of my servants. In other words, God's talking about the prophets of the Old Testament. They surely beat them and traumatized them and treated them terrible. Everyone expected vengeance after the first and second servant and were abused, but they didn't receive that. They found mercy because God's a God of mercy. The people in that day saw slaves and servants as mere animals and treated them like livestock and not like people. And he said, well, maybe if I send my son, they'll pay attention to him, they'll respect him, and they will regret the way they've treated my servants. So the verb entrepo here literally means to shame and to respect. Yet we see here these wicked servants have no shame and absolutely no respect for the owner who had been so gracious and so kind to them, but now they were being unfaithful and unruly. So now he sends his son, and before they even heard a word of what the son had to say, they went into a discussion and they started to plot and plan what they were going to do to the owner's son. They had no intention of listening to what the son had to say. They misinterpreted the whole scenario, and when the son arrives, they misinterpret the grace and the kindness of the owner, and they go a step further than before, and they decide, we're not just going to beat this fellow, we're going to kill him. We're going to take his life. Now they're all consumed with selfishness. They may have assumed the owner was not going to fight back or may have been dead, and the inheritance would be left to them, but the owner was very much alive and not dead. And he would come claim the profit sooner or later. And the law of the land in that day is if 3 years passed by and no one laid claim to the land, it became the property of the tenant farmers. So they're just hoping nobody will come and claim the land. And so they may have logically and wrongfully deducted by the number of emissaries that the owner was a coward or the owner was dead, but he was not a coward and he was not dead. He was very much alive. This story was devised by Jesus to make the audience outraged with the tenant farmers, and these actions were unacceptable. And the law-abiding citizens and every people of that day certainly wouldn't like it. But this was a pagan-like conduct. And Jesus throws out the baited question, what should the owner do? Think about that. What should the owner do to these who have killed his son? You think about that, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. You're on